What's poppin', everyone? Tara Lynch here with the next big thing, the video cast sharing all things infotainment. Now, how can you tell your story while stuck at home? Gabe Baltierra joins us to tell us about an easy way to make media while stuck in quarantine. Plus, we have this week's top stories and trends. Let's jump right in. With our trends in news, American astronauts are looking to reach galaxies far, far away once again, but they'll have to wait a little bit longer. The SpaceX launch scheduled for earlier this week was postponed due to weather. SpaceX, a venture by Elon Musk, is hoping to launch American astronauts back into space and be the first U.S. mission since the space shuttle missions ended nearly a decade ago. Astronauts Robert Behnken and Douglas Hurley have been training for this mission for over 5 years, and they're hoping to get the green light for liftoff on Saturday. As states and countries begin to reopen, one question still remains: how will the entertainment and sports industries get back on track? Now, teams have been allowing individual training sessions. The NCAA announced student athletes will be able to go back to campuses this summer, and the NHL said earlier this week that they will be back for playoff hockey. Over in Europe, the television and film industries are back on track, recovering now, and Hollywood will follow suit shortly. Some experts are saying there will be a completely different consumer experience for live events because of the increased safety precautions necessary to accommodate for social distancing. Another obstacle is the public's fear to attend these large events because they might contract COVID-19. Questions still remain as these industries begin to recover from COVID-19 losses. Now, staying at home can be super challenging right now, especially when we know that we can't travel. Plus, the news cycle can be really overwhelming due to the pandemic, so mindfulness is very important. We talk about it here on The Next Big Thing all the time, but what do you get when you put those two topics together? Well, I'd like to bring in Gabe Baltierra, the owner and creator of Travel in Peace podcast, which features both travel and mindfulness. So, Gabe, thank you so much for joining me today on The Next Big Thing.
Thanks for having me, Tara.
So let's just start right off with what inspired you to start Travel in Peace?
So for me, I've been traveling since I was 6 months old. My parents love to travel, and they took me on my first flight. I was born in the UK, and we went from the UK straight to Australia. And I was 6 months old, and I fell in love with traveling ever since. I've been to pretty much every single continent, more than like 50 countries, and I just love doing it. You know, it's a great time. You get to meet new people, do new activities, really put yourself into new culture, which I really think is really cool.
So that's a really long flight to take as a 6-month-old to Australia. So I give you and your parents a lot of credit for that one. So how did you, when you created this podcast, integrate your passion for travel with mindfulness?
So I believe that when you travel, it's actually really good for your mind because you're escaping where you come from. I know a lot of people nowadays like to travel for fun or leisure, and I like to take that lead as you're escaping your reality, because in today's day and age, we're very stressed. We have a lot going on, whether it's work, school, friendships, relationships, and traveling is actually one of the best things for your mind to just escape and experience a new reality. So I think, kind of integrating the mindfulness with it was actually super simple, because you just really think about stress as just kind of a very negative thing. And when you travel, it actually brings in a very positive attitude to your life or your relationship or whatever you're going through.
It's definitely so helpful right now, especially during the pandemic when we can't go anywhere. So your stories kind of allow us to go to those places, even if we haven't been there. So, speaking of the pandemic, you and I, we share something very similar. We're doing this from our homes. So both of our media projects, mine's in my dining room. I know that you do yours from home as well. So what has that been like, just having to, make Travel in Peace in your room?
Yeah, so it was definitely a little strange. I usually record in a booth back at school or wherever I can find one. And I actually had to buy a little mic off Amazon and connect it to my computer, and I would sit at my desk in my room where I would usually do homework and record there. and I would have, I'd use my phone and connect it to my microphone when I have guests come on. So it's definitely been a little bit of a struggle at first, but now I've kind of gotten into the groove, gotten used to it. But it's, I mean, you're doing this from your home too, so we're definitely in the same page here. But you get used to it. Change is okay sometimes, but we'll get through it.
Change, something that you talked about recently on Travel in Peace, so everyone should check out that episode. But speaking, of the podcast, what is next for the Travel in Peace brand?
Yeah, so what I really want to look forward to doing, hopefully after this pandemic is slowing down and getting over, is actually doing some actual travel. So I want to do my podcast from where I'm actually going. So whether it's in Europe or Asia or Africa, kind of bringing the podcast actually to the countries, actually do a couple live videos from where I am, really actually involving the travel part of it. Because, I think people like to see where you are visually.
Definitely, we will look out for that. Gabe, thank you so much for joining me today on The Next Big Thing.
Thank you so much for having me. And guys, make sure to listen to Travel Peace Podcast. You can find it on Apple and Spotify, as well as follow us at the Travel Peace Podcast on Instagram. But thank you so much, Tara.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gabe, for coming on and talking about those two very important topics, especially mindfulness, something that we all need to think about right now, and we'll have more about that later. But another aspect of mindfulness is the idea of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer. Now, Taylor Swift is following that right now as she is making headlines with a new cover that was released of her song, Look What You Made Me Do. Jack Leopards and the Dolphin Club is credited with the song that was featured on Killing Eve. Now, here's the mystery part of it. It is their first song ever, and Nils Soberg is the producer on the album. Now, if you're a Swiftie, you know that that is Taylor's pseudonym that she used in 2016 on Calvin Harris's song, This Is What You Came For. So why is this a big deal? Well, it's the latest installment in the feud between Taylor and Scooter Braun. Braun acquired all of Taylor's master recordings from her first 6 albums, and it has been a very heated battle between them. So right now, Taylor has us all waiting for her next tactical move, so keep an eye or an ear out for that one. Moving on to our family fun trend this week, Elmo has joined the ranks as a new primetime late night host with his show, The Not Too Late Show. Now, other characters from Sesame Street are also featured, including Cookie Monster as a co-host and Rosita as stage manager. The talk show also features some of your favorite celebrities, and guests this season include John Oliver, John Mulaney, Lil Nas X, and the Jonas Brothers. This new primetime show is family friendly and for everyone to enjoy. Watch The Not Too Late Show now on HBO Max. Rounding out our trends we love this week, Alice and Jerry Krenke from Connecticut have been married for nearly 60 years. And get this, they've never spent more than a week apart. Recently, Alice had to go back into the hospital after a complication due to a heart valve replacement, and her husband could not go and visit her due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so they spent a very long time apart. But when Alice heard she could go home and be released from the hospital, she wanted to surprise Jerry, and this is the result.
Oh, you forgot. You're so handsome.
Yeah.
I love you. All right, let's see. I'll go get the quiche.
Are you guys gonna eat?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Oh my God. Oh, you didn't tell me.
On purpose.
Oh, honey. Oh. I missed you so much. How you feeling? You feeling all right?
I'm better now.
Yeah, you better now. Oh.
Dallas came home and the couple was reunited once again. This just proves that love conquers all. Our trend for you this week is all about mindfulness and positivity. Good Morning America released these 4 healthy habits to improve your attitude, especially during this pandemic, which can be grim for some people. So, what are these steps? Well, the first one, take 2 minutes to write a positive email to somebody important in your life. Now, just show general gratitude to them. The benefits of this, well, you could receive an email back, which of course would boost your mood, or you could just increase your social connection with others during this time, as it's, been very difficult with social distancing, or both. So it's a win-win either way. The second step, get up and move your body for 15 minutes. Now this might seem like a long amount of time, but once you're moving, it'll be super fun and the time will just fly right by. You can dance, run, jog, walk, whatever works best for you, just get up and move your body. The third step is to journal every day. Now take 2 minutes out of your day to reflect positively on something that happened to you within the last 24 hours. And this will, of course, help you to improve your mood and refocus for the rest of your day. And the fourth step, take 2 minutes to meditate. Feel your breath for 120 seconds and just allow your stress to exit your body. This will help you refocus to get back at whatever project you are working on. Now, all of this together takes 21 minutes, and a lot of people say, well, I don't have time for that. But if you space it out throughout the day, you can get it all in and also be more positive. So let's get after it. Okay, all you cool cats and kittens, that's all the time we have this week on The Next Big Thing. If you have something big to share, put it in the comments below or feel free to send me a message. Now like, share, send this all over the world. Let's see how far The Next Big Thing can go. And also, come back next week for more infotainment news. Always remember, when you need the news that pops, I'll be here with The Next Big Thing. Tara Lynch, out.